Alright, hello everyone. So here we have the kits of Fell Bullet Heathcliff as well as W Corp Outis. I want to talk about Fell Bullet Heathcliff first. This one we really need to wait for a lot of numbers to be revealed because otherwise I really cannot tell whether this ego will be good or not very important. The ego passive is one of the juicier ones because at combat start at X plus highest resonance you gain Poise. And the good thing about this is that if Quick Whack does need Poise, so that means that Quick Quack will definitely benefit because he's always triggering either Envy or Pride Resonance in the team comp that he's meant to be in, which is the Ahab team comp, right? So Ahab Bleed, that will just be able to get a lot of poise, which is good for that Heathcliff. And then we also have Rabbit who can benefit from this because Rabbit, if you get poise onto Rabbit, Rabbit's a really good character. And if Rabbit, a good character, gets poise, he becomes a better character. So this is just overall a very, very good passive. The big thing about this ego is this torn memory mechanic and the special, if this unit has the ammo effect, you gain ammo. So this is a unique effect. It lets you reload potentially. The requirement to reload, however, is very, very tricky. You need to kill on the second bullet of this ego, and it needs to be a critical kill, so you need to crit. And Rabbit does not naturally generate poise, so it is going to be quite tricky. You need to use the ego passive, and you need to use the torn memory mechanic. The torn memory mechanic is as long as you get resonance, or even better, absolute resonance, you will get torn memory and you gain poise based on the torn memory, and as well a bit of other poise count. And then at the end you will lose every torn memory. So you deal more damage on crit for every torn memory, and that's pretty much the whole mechanic. Torn memory is primarily just here to give you crit chance, and then hopefully you crit on the second coin specifically and you kill on the second coin specifically, so that you can do this. To tell whether we can actually do that, we kind of need to see how much damage this ego actually does. We will need to see how much crit this thing actually gives us. If we need other support from other characters to give us crit, then this may not be a very, very useful effect. Yeah, crit kill is a very limiting word to use for this kind of ego here. So yeah, I really do need to see the numbers before I can judge this ego anymore. Potentially this could be very good if it maybe, like for example, if this was just one ammo and it would hit one target, this would be not very interesting. But if this gave like 6 ammo and it's one target, that would be interesting. And then if it is AoE ego and it's one ammo, it would also be kind of interesting. So it really depends on all of the numbers here. Yeah. Right, so that's really it for this ego. Nothing much else to talk about except wait for the numbers. The corroded form has a whopping 6 before attacks. Ultimately just means that this ego, when you corrode it, you deal a bunch of damage in an AoE. You can just summarize it as that. You don't have to read every single before attack here. Alright, so now let's move on to W Corp Outis, who I think is the best designed character in a while. This character's kit is just so fluid, it just flows together so well. This character has to be good. Like literally has to be good or very good. Cannot be dog shit. This character really is just kind of foolproof with how the kit is designed. It's very, very clean. The animations are good. It means this character is probably going to be a very good character to run in either Rupture or W Corp. Let's start off with the names actually, because I like the names. The names are just small changes from Dawn. So if you play Ruina, this character Rose that Outis is currently possessing, she is the one that has Rip, Leap, and Rip Space. So her those are all her book pages, right? So Outis has all of those skills, but they had to change it because Dawn inherited all of those namings. So they changed it to Ripple, they changed it to Charge Leap, and they changed it to Rip Dimension. So yeah, a bit of a copy my homework, but then I changed a lot of things here. Yeah. Anyway, back to the passive. Gain charge every time this unit consumes X cumulative charge count. Now this is the most interesting part of the passive because it is not gain charge count, it is gain charge, which means this character gains potency every time this unit consumes charge count, which is a very unique effect and we have not seen before in all of the W Corp gang, right? The second passive is turn N, apply Clash Power Up next turn to charge W Corp employees, including this unit in reverse deployment order. I'm not sure whether this bracket means that if the character has charge, it's also included, or if it means the W Corp characters need to have charge on them. But either way, you're getting Clash Power Up onto the W Corp gang. The W Corp gang does not need Clash Power because they clash very well by themselves. So this is not exactly a significant buff, but it is still a Clash Power buff, means your win rating will be a lot better with this passive. So this part is the interesting part, this part is the part, but it is still a pretty good buff to make your win rate easier. right? So what do you do with this charge potency? Let's move on to skill tree. Skill tree, the first line will use the charge. To self and highest resonance allies with charge, you apply load equal to charge on self. The key thing here to note is that this is allies with charge, not W Corp with charge. So allies with charge, it means it also includes people like the Rose Banner gang who also use a lot of charge in their kit. Whether it be for Tremor, whether it be for Rupture, they can use it, so that means they will also be getting this load effect. And what does load do? Attack skills that consume charge count deal more damage. If you are W Corp, you deal even more damage. So this character buffs Rose Banner, buffs W Corp. That is just straight and simple, and it's based on the resonance. So the unfortunate part here is that this skill is Gloom. So for the resonance, you will not be able to really make a resonance with your Dither or your Rip Space. You have to make a separate resonance. For example, you need to do Quick Suppression, Rip Space, and Dither. Then you will get 3 Envy, and that will let you get 3 allies with charge. But this skill being Gloom also has its advantages, because if you run her with the Rupture gang, you have ADD Gregor, which loves Gloom skills because it will let them become Rupture neutral or positive. And for this character here, because her skill tree does Rupture, 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 you will be able to get a full refund on this skill tree Rupture count, and then you also build up the potency of this skill tree. Very, very strong stuff. Another interesting thing about the charge mechanic is that the second line here, on use at X plus charge and at Y to Z charge count, you will consume the charge count to gain coin power. This one is charge, not charge count, which is quite interesting. Then the second line here is consume X charge count to gain coin power. So I'm not really sure which one is the one that overrides the other. I'm guessing it's the bottom one, but as long as you have some charge, right, you can actually just cheat out the coin power here already. So it looks pretty interesting that you can maybe cheat out the skill tree a little bit earlier than you want, instead of building up all the way to the maximum charge count, as long as you have a bit of charge potency here. We have to wait for the numbers, but this looks pretty fun. And then besides that, down here, you also gain X minus charge potency charge count. So your charge here, just like this skill tree refunds you, gives a bunch of Rupture, has a potentially skipping the full charge count mechanic here, and also gives your allies all loot. And it's a 4 coin skill, and it's Gloom. Like, this skill is just a powerhouse skill. It's really, really very good. And skill 2 is also a powerhouse skill. The reason being is that it is a consumer of your charge count, which will trigger this passive to give you charge for your load in the future. And if this unit consumes charge count, you gain charge barrier, which is a shield, but if it decays, it will give all of your allies, yourself and 2 other allies, charge count, which is very, very good already. So it's basically a refund. And then besides that, this skill also has charge count, charge count, charge count. 3 instances of charge count. And that means that you will likely be able to break even or go like way positive with this skill 2 here. So unless the numbers are super bad, this skill is definitely just still a positive increase to your charge count. It just happens to have a charge count consumption here just for the charge gain of the potency. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. And then for some reason they added bind here for some reason, like whatever. Ripple is pretty much a rip from Dawn. It just gains base power and clash power for charge count, so you can just clash stuff here. Your deployed plasma is a simple shield that gains base power based on charge count and gives you charge count. Holy shit, there's so much instances of charge count here. Support passive is pretty cool. It is Refraction, and one ally who has the most charge count at turn start will deal more damage with skills that consumed charge count. So you can give it to Dither, you can give it to Dawn, Rip Space, and blah blah blah. Yeah, this support passive is pretty okay by itself. But I think you'll probably be running this character just because you want to give load to all of your allies. And so you can see, right, the kit's flow is very, very nice. It's the same as the rest of them. You use your 1 guard or skill 2 to build up charge count, but you should prioritize using skill 2 so you can get more charge potency. And then once you build up all of this, you use your skill 3 to cash out. And you try to get resonance with the skill 3, and then you get the load onto this character as well as allies, and then you get a bunch of shenanigans, whether it be with AED Gregor, whether it be just using this as a nuke skill alongside the other W Corpus. Looks like a very, very solid character. I don't think they can go wrong unless they mess up the numbers really, really bad with this character. So that is why I'm very excited to see the numbers for this character, because either she's going to be average, either she's going to be very good, in my opinion. I don't think she can actually be a bad ID, no matter how I look at her. And then for Heathcliff, we definitely need to see the numbers, because this ego could either be crazy strong or not use at all. Like there's only 2 options here, in my opinion. Based on the Poise number here, this is the important part. The ammo amount here and amount of Poise for the torn memory. These are the 3 important things here. Damage of course, because I need to know if I can actually kill this ego. But usually egos can just kill anyway. So the real important part is how much Poise am I getting, how much ammo am I getting, how much Poise am I getting here. Right. Okay, so that's really all I have to say about this banner. This banner looks really, really high in potential, but they could easily mess up with the numbers and then this ego or ID would just fall off. But I think Outis is kind of foolproof. I don't think this character, with her animations and with her with how well designed her kit is, can actually be a bad character. But I could be wrong, so I will just hold it there, right? Okay, so that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you guys when the actual coin power and numbers have been revealed. Alright, bye guys, see you guys next time.